Hey everyone, Tehuti here. For my first YouTube video, we're going to be doing a Hack the Box box called Expressway. It's rated as a easy box, and we'll just get right into it. I pre-made the scans just to save time. They were taking a while, and so you'll see that I did not do the TAC, which you would normally want to do, right? Because you'll want to scan all 65,535 ports. But again, it was taking too long, so I opted not to do that. And so you'll see here that I did a regular TCP scan, and then I did a UDP scan, because I originally didn't find anything useful on the TCP scan. So I did default scripts, I did no ping, and I did default scripts, and then with a V is a version scan. I did the same thing down here, but with a U, telling it to scan UDP ports. And so as you can see, the only ports available to us are 22 and 500. Everything else is, I guess, TFTP is open here. Let's see if we can do like, I forget what that command is. It's a TFTP to 129. I don't even know if this is right. Oh, looks like it is. And help status. I guess you could put something here, but we're gonna skip all of that because I know this isn't the answer. I already did this box, by the way. I don't even know how to get out of here, really. I know how to get out of here. I'll just close that window. Oh my God, I'm so lazy. And so anyways, we'll just skip that. We have 22, but we don't have any creds, right? So we'll notate that. And 500. And the other thing is, like, you can go ahead and do like a search exploit for openness and save to that version, and nothing will pop up. You can also do a Google. I'm not going to do that. Again, I already know I did this box, so I already know the answer is 500. And you could also enumerate this port, though on a previous scan, this showed up as filtered as well. So not sure why I did it here, but whatever, moving on to 500. So it's a KEMP, it's a KMP. So what is ISA KMP? So it looks like it's a framework, and it works along with IKE. IKE is what does the actual key exchange and SA negotiation. So, and then we have a tool here. If you're not using GPT, you probably really should, especially if you're in this field or looking to get into this field. You should definitely have, and I mean, I pay for my GPT, but you don't have to. You can use the free version as well. It'll be fine. So we got the IKE scan tool recommended here, which I am familiar with. But let's go over here to our notes, and we'll just say there's no exploit, even though we didn't Google anything. But let's do that. Notate what we got. And with IKE scan, I want to show you a few things. We'll do a slash there at the bottom, and then we'll do tech M. And this is going to give us a multi-line. It basically just cleans up the output, puts it on every piece of the output, puts it on a separate line. And we will also look at the tech A, which gives us aggressive scans. And then we will do PK, what is it? PSK crack is what it is. And this is going to put output into a file that is crackable and crack friendly, basically. Okay, so we will run that. There wasn't really much usefulness here from the default scan, so we will press and use the Ike scan. And remember, using Elm for multi-line, tech A for aggressive, and we will put the IP there. 169. And actually, I want to show you what it looks like without those options. So you get this, and then if you add the TAC M, you get that, which is much nicer, right? This is the PSK right here. This is the actual information. And then do TAC A, which is aggressive, and it gives you more. You can see here that it basically gives us this bit more, and this down here, right? Move. Hey. Sorry, I have a cat that's like destroying my futon right now. Hey, stop that. So we have an email here, so that's useful. We will throw that over here. Find the email, and so that looks like a user Ike. That looks like a username to me, right? So, but we will add that last option that we talked about, right? So we'll do PSK crack, and we'll send it to a file named psk.txt. And we'll press with that. We'll go with that. And so down here, you'll see this file, this PSK. It's exactly in the same format, right? Or not. It's in a different format, but work with me here. So this is crackable format, right? So you can see the different strings here. Okay, so, and we'll jot this command down. This basically gave us what we wanted. Trying to make sure everyone's used to note taking. So for here, we'll just say, we'll do like that to denote this is a user, because usually it would be like user and then like password, right? There's no, we don't have a password yet. We will. So let's do hashcat psk. This should identify, see it's starting in auto detect mode. If you give it hashcat with the new version of hashcat, it does this really cool thing, right? Version 7 and up, where it'll auto detect. And you can see here that it already detected 5400, and that's an Ike SHA-1. It looks like it's attempting to do its brute forcing, but we're going to stop that because we're going to actually give it the mode that it found above, give it the file. I will do a locate for rocku, which is my favorite password word list. And then we'll send that, and we will actually grab that command as well, throw it into here. And might as well do the .text, which gives us 5400 hashcat mode 5400. Okay, and you can see it's already done, and it gave us a password, right? So recovered. If you ever get lost in hashcat output, right? So recovered is what's important, and the password is right here, as well as I believe it's somewhere here as well. Okay, maybe not, but yeah, you'll always see the password at the end of it. So yeah, so we'll move. Gosh, she loves my futon for some reason. Anyways, so we'll do Ike password. So we got creds now, and remember we have SSH, right? So let's just go ahead and try that. And it was 129, 169. Again, I already did this box, so it didn't ask us like, hey, are you sure and all that, right? So we'll just throw the password in there. And we are in. All right. So for enumeration, I like to call this very first bit situational awareness, right? So who am I? Where am I? Things like that. Obviously, it's SSH. I know we just SSH as Ike, right? But it's good to build that habit because sometimes you're in the weeds, man, and like you, you have no idea who you just landed as, right? So we'll just go ahead and press with the who am I, right? We'll do host name. Interesting. And we'll do netstat antup since this is Linux. If it was Windows, we would do Anna. And then you do like find string listening, and it'll show you only your listening ports, right? That's for Windows. Now for Linux, again, we're going to do antup. Look for any listening ports. You see our established stuff, right? Like right here. Let's do if config over here. And you'll see that my VPN 1647 right here is using this port and it's going to our machine, our target 169. You'll see 169 here via 22. All right, so local foreign address. So you have this foreign address, which is my Kali machine on that VPN, right? But that's established, right? That's not actually what we're looking for. We're looking for anything that's listening internally, that's not listening externally. We'll see 25 here. Interesting there, or right here. Listening locally on 25. So that's interesting. Port 25 is listening, but we'll come back to that. And we're not done with situational awareness. Another good one, a really good one, is ID, because it gives you groups. So here, what sticks out like a sore thumb? We'll do ID, and we'll do found proxy group. Okay. So we got to find out a little bit more about this proxy group and what it owns and stuff. But let's also do sudo L, right? Sudo L is the equivalent for Linux. On Windows, it would be whoami/priv, and this is going to give you a list of privilege. Actually, I can just show you. It's going to give you a list of privileges, right? So whoami/priv. If I start a shell as administrator, you'll see the privileges are way more, right? Because now it's using my administrator token instead of my user, right? But yeah, whoami/priv, that's just Windows, how you would find your privileges. I'll just leave that there. So on Linux, the equivalent of that is sudo L, right? And we'll grab this password, put it on there. So this is not I want to bring your attention that this is not the default, hey, you're not a sudoer message for sudo, right? Usually it says member XYZ is not part of the sudoers, right? But here it's saying something, so we got a custom message. So the pseudo binary has been modified, right? So that's interesting, right? So that's called a breadcrumb. And this is what when you're enumerating things, you want to get some breadcrumbs and kind of like pull on a string until you pull, and then boom, you got initial access or you got escalation, right? So the pseudo binary has been modified here. So we want to look into the pseudo binary more, right? Hopefully that's tracking. So we'll do pseudo version, we'll do with pseudo. And here you can see pseudo is sitting in this user local bin pseudo, which I believe is not the default path of pseudo. So we'll come over to the right side of the screen at the bottom and we'll do with pseudo. Yeah, so on my Kali at least, it's in user bin pseudo. It's in user bin. And here's in user local bin. So again, this pseudo binary has been modified. If we do environment, for environment variables, you'll see the path is different from normal, right? So usually this user bin goes first. So if I do environment over here, okay, ignore all that. I got all kinds of craziness going on. But okay, mine was a mine was a bad example too. But usually this user bin would be first. I believe that's how that goes on a regular Linux machine. So we're definitely peaked. We're interested in this pseudo binary for sure. We have a version number here. We'll just go ahead and grab that. Do that. Pseudo binary has been modified. And what else? User path. We could be like twice or something, you know, like twice or whatever, you know. You could be like different path, and now let's leave it like that. Okay. So let's go back and look into this proxy thing going on, because I don't believe that's, well, I know it's not, because I've done this box, but if you're following the breadcrumbs, right, the proxy group is obviously out of place, right? We'll send everything else to null, dev null. Dev null. So we got some squid stuff here. September 16. So I'll just do, I don't know what I was trying to do with that. Ignore that. Let's go into this directory. We'll go into that directory in a second here. I know what I just said. I'm dyslexic, y'all. Leave me alone. Squid cache. Okay. So you will look at each one of these files, right? See if there's anything interesting in them. I'll just play ball. So we got some denies here, right? Google. Now look at this one. We got a different host name and it's being denied, right? So another client, another host tried to access something and was denied. And if you'll remember, our host name is completely different, right? And we're seeing that, right? So the one thing we haven't done so far is actually look up that version number of sudo. So we'll just come over here, right side of the screen, and we'll do sudo 1.9.17. And look, it says a host option, elevation of privilege, right? And then we have this as well, local privilege escalation. We'll go with this one first, but then we'll come back and we'll check this one out. But because I want to show you something with that as well. But so we'll just grab it with the TAC M. Grab that, cat 52, tab it out. And so here's the CVE, 1.9.17, which is what we have. Oh, and before I forget, let's see how you, let's grab we'll grab this. And we'll do inside of a file owned by the proxy group. Okay, and move. Jesus, she knows she's not supposed to be tearing my stuff up. Cats, man. And so this talks about how host alias directive. You don't need an exploit. It looks like you can just right here. Here's the cream, the bread and butter. Or maybe right here. Yeah. You can actually just tell, because what's happening here is that it looks like the sudoers policy is dictated by the host, like what host is coming from, right? That's why we have two different hosts in the proxy group. And so you can tell the sudo command to use a different host and tell it to, like, it's coming from a different host, and then do TAC I for interactive. So we will try that. And we'll do sudo TAC H. We use that off ramp expressway hack the box. And we just do TAC I. And we're root. Just that simple. Hopefully that logic tracks. So we landed on the machine. We'll do like a little recap. Actually, let me go here and root that. There's that root.txt, right? So you finished out the box like that. But so we landed on the box as Ike, and Ike had another group allowed to it named Proxy. And Proxy, when we looked at what files were owned by Proxy, we found a few files. We looked inside of a few, and then we found this other host. This off-ramp expressway.hackthebox, right? But before we had done that, we had already done our situational awareness, and sudo was looking a little strange, right? It was looking modified, right? We had a custom message, right? And the environment variables or the path was switched around a little bit. So that had us digging into sudo, and then we looked up the sudo version number, and we found that I guess it's not an exploit, it's more like a living off the land binary, or a low bin, right? And then when we executed that, we got root. However, we're gonna back out because remember I said there was another way. I don't know if it's intended or not. I'm sure it is. But if we do that search exploit again, and there's this other one down here, local privesc, right? So we'll just grab that and we'll cat it out to here's your explanation. Feel free to pause it. We already verified the version, and so here's the code between these two lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do nano exploit. Those are bash files, right? So throw that code in there. And here it's color coded, so you can see a little bit better. Feel free to pause. You can also just take this and throw it in GBT. It'll break down exactly what it's doing, which is what you always want to do with exploit code anyways, because you don't want to grab something off of YouTube and it's like some... Never mind, I'm not going to say any nations, but you don't want to run a backdoor. You don't want to give somebody access. At least make them work for it, right? So we'll save that, and then we'll just run it, right? And run an exploit, and boom, we got root, right? Again. And again, you can take this code, throw it in GPT, and it'll break it down for you line by line, which I highly recommend you do. I'm not going to do that though. Yeah, we have root. Let me take my command. You want to be in the habit of note taking everything. If you're prepping for something like the OSCP or the EJPT or whatever, you want to be in this habit of note taking all successful commands, right? And if you don't know what it does at one glance, do like a little note next to it. Uses a different host for whatever, right? Put a little note next to it or under it, whatever, right? And yeah, so that was Expressway. It's an easy box by Hack the Box. And hopefully, what I really wanted you to get out of this was the breadcrumbs, right? Is, us locking in on sudo, why we locked in on sudo, right? And then, thus finding an exploit to go along with it. You really want to get, when you're doing your enumeration, that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to find these little breadcrumbs. But hopefully that makes sense. Again, this is my first video. I'm not a YouTuber really, but I guess that now I am, and I'm gonna look to evolve and get better over time. So yeah, Tehuti out.